Another surprising and shocking scenario, again with the NLC. What happened on that day?
Well, I think just like the first tape, this second one too doesn't reflect our character. This is 11th Delegate Conference of Nigeria Labour Congress, which means we've had conferences, for the past, we've had 10 conferences, which the first one started in 1978, which produced Alhaji Sumanu as the president NLC. The second one, we had 84, Ali Chiroma, in that order, Pascal Bafia, may so rest in peace. And the last, the one before this produced Adam Soshomole in 1999 when we returned to democratic process. You've never witnessed this kind of rancor. So what were we doing before that we're not doing now? I think there's an abuse of process, just the way I've told you about the housing scam, it's lack of due diligence. But this time around, our own lack of respect for due diligence. And what are the facts? I think the fact is that we have a constitution that spells out the modalities for conduct of elections. There are two critical issues guiding election of the NLC. Delegate representation, which is based on your union dues, how much you paid. Then secondly, nomination for elective office. Now, as far back as November, NLC Secretary had given notice, provided us with provisional list of delegates to go for elections, clear. And then December, around 12th of December.
Sorry, delegates are chosen on how much they pay?
Yeah, union dues. It has to be proportional representation, based on dues paid to the NLC, so over the years. And then there's a cutoff date, 3 months to the election. After that, you can pay. And that's what is being used to determine delegates.
So
that's why some unions...
No recourse to your union. It's just how much you pay.
Yeah, it's how much... NLC is made up of 43 industrial unions, affiliated unions, and different members. Some have 10,000, some will have about 100,000. So it's amount of money you pay. You get the point? That will determine your level of representation. We have some formulas to determine that. That's why you have some union having more delegates. Again, this is quite contentious, but this is the reality for this election. 1999, it was equal representation we did, because we're just coming out of military rule then. But this one, that is the rule. Now, we also have a credential committee that's supposed to conduct election. It has given the list, the forms to all the unions to filing for nomination. We have one position for president, 3 deputies, 5 vice presidents, auditors, one treasurer along the same line. Now, NSA had already given the nomination. And there was a deadline, January 4th. Credential committees, headed by the president of Academic Staff Union, was mandated to meet quickly within 24 hours by the Constitution, to look at those who meet the basic criteria. And the criteria is that you fill your funds properly, you are nominated by your unions, and then you also pay your union dues, as the case may be. And then within 48 hours, you publish the list of the candidates. Check all the dailies of January 6th. NSC had published the list of delegates. List of cleared nominations or nominees. In that publication, we have 3 candidates for the presidency for 1 position. We have 3 deputies. 3 deputies were cleared, unopposed, because those were the one credential committees cleared. 5 vice presidents, they were already cleared, as the case may be. And that was it. So we had to go for the conference. The Constitution also spells out the condition for revisiting this nomination, which is in case of death or insufficient nomination.
Of one of the persons.
One of the committee. It was only in one case of ex officio that instead of 2, we had 1. That's the only one you could raise, but there was no death, as the case may be. So that's the only one that the conference ought to have addressed, which it did. Now, what happened was that at the National Administrative Council meeting, 2 unions petitioned to say that they were fairly treated, they ought to have been in that nomination. Very good, respectable unions, road transport workers, as well as maritime. Their complaint came to National Administrative Council, it was rejected. It went to NEC, it was rejected. And Credential Committee that had the final say said very well that we should obey our rules. Chamberlain, you need to get this point very well. It's clear, the point I'm raising. Now, of course, Constitution says the Congress can review any issue, but the Congress does not say we should distort the spirit and content of our provision of our Constitution. And that's what happened at the conference. Now, the leadership of the NLC
just hold on
now,
a minute. We need to take a quick break,
yeah.
but we'll come back.
Okay,
just
then.
hold your train of thoughts at that point.
Thank you.
We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. We're taking a look at the NLC's botched elections, of which you saw the report. Aremu is still here with us, and you were talking about...
yeah, so what I'm saying before the interlude is that what led to the crisis we have is what I call casualization of NLC rules.
Casualization?
Yeah, I mean, we had the watertight rules, which guided this election very well. And unfortunately, at the conference venue, the NLC, president allowed for a situation in which we're now having casual rules, I mean, I give you an example. You've advertised publicly of duly cleared candidates for the election. 3 candidates for the presidency, unopposed for the deputy.
Was Najim Yassim cleared initially?
No, wasn't cleared.
But it was later cleared?
Yeah, it was later. That's why I'm saying the casualization, because Credential Committee spelled out why they disqualified some of these unions.
But you said you were contesting for the deputy...
Yeah, I've been cleared.
You were cleared,
yeah.
And you said you were unopposed?
Unopposed. 3 of us were made unopposed.
Yourself?
Myself, from Textile Workers Union, Construction Workers, the Civil Service Union President, that's Kiri Mohammed. Then the third one, Pt.1 from National Non-Academic Staff Union.
What about Igwe Achese?
Igwe was among the 3 cleared for the presidency. He wanted to contest for the president. Again, it was around 1 a.m. after the House had been dissolved that the president of NLC, again, is contentious whether he had the right to do that, because we have dissolved the House for the new round of election. But he came back to now move for a motion to say, Achise, Comrade Achise, my very good friend, respected president of Nupeng, is no more contesting. Are you getting it? They move a motion to say he can now contest, to go for the deputy president of the NLC. And you can see from the tape you played, one of the crises we had was that they now have to go and be printing new ballot papers to accommodate some new candidates. Am I communicating? Which were already not in the process from the one. Now, what I'm saying, Chamberlain, is can you imagine now that the leading presidential candidates that are known Nigerians now, all of a sudden, either the General Muhammad Buhari or President Goodluck Jonathan now say, no, in view of the fact that we are not sure whether we are going to win, we'd like now to go to the Senate. And we now allow them to fill forms at this hour. I mean, which credential committee of NLC vet their forms, look at their rules, look at their CV, just the way it was done for some of us before.
We have
now, what I'm saying in summary, let me land, is that, you see, the tape you played only tells the partial story of what happened. Now, if you played it from day one, opening ceremony, business session, this conference was largely successful, where we followed due process. Don't forget, this conference was not just about elections.
Let me bring in Igwe Achese.
Irrespective of where we played the tape from, that is not a good sign.
No, I agree. No, what I'm saying that this one is a reflection of what I call casualized rules of the NLC.
Let's get
where we had watertight rules.
All right, just hold on.
We had a successful part of the program, and that's what we've been doing in the past.
Igwe Achese is online from Port Harcourt. He's the president of Nupeng. He's also involved in this election, but he'll tell us to what extent. Morning, and thank you for joining us today. From what Comrade Aremu has told us, you were not initially cleared to go for the... First of all, give us your position. What were you contesting for initially?
Well, Chamberlain, good morning.
Morning.
Let me honestly appreciate this program. I think it brings into limelight the current situation of the Nigerian Labour Congress. Initially, I was contesting for the presidency of the Nigerian Labour Congress. But again, the rules are there, the constitutions are clear. I've listened to Issa Aremu as well in terms of his argument on those who were cleared, who supposed to be cleared also. There's nowhere in the constitution that it is being clear that aspirants should be disqualified by the credential committees. We have rules and regulations. The rules not even state clearly that there are criteria that must be used in disqualifying those who are affiliates, who also pay their affiliate dues and so on. I think it's unfortunate that we find ourselves in a situation where we are today, because I think there's a problem of leadership, which were also part and parcel of the leadership. But again, if the leader, who is also the president of Congress, do not also show the commitment in terms of making sure NLC goes beyond where he takes over the leadership from Adam Shoshomo when it comes to regional issue. For me, as an individual, and Nigerian workers out there who are watching and also listening to the issues that are happening today, it's painful. It's very, very painful, because you ask yourself, is that what we stand for? Is that our dream as for Nigerian workers today? The answer is no. But I think it's at the point when you talk about in terms of responsibilities of leaders and then accountability of us leaders to Nigerian workers. I think that is where we have the problem. Comrade Najim of the Road Transport Union and few other aspirants also protested in terms of what they intend to be disqualified, and the criteria being used is not what it's supposed to be. But when the Congress, as is clearly stated in the Constitution of Nigerian Labour Congress, that Congress has the powers to take whatever decision they can take in order to make the movement move forward. And that is what happened at the level delegate conference, where submissions were made by the Najim and a few other individuals who were disqualified by virtue of Article 34 and so on. It's clearly stated that these individuals have the powers to take their case to the Congress and let the Congress also look at these issues objectively and decide what their fate will be. And at that conference, the Congress cleared these individuals and also made open the nomination, allowing members of Congress who want to vie for positions, so also in the floor of the House declare to contest for positions. And that is exactly what happened. And at that point, I was actually vying for the position of the president. But in order to make Congress to be more stronger and to move the Congress forward, I took a decision, a bold step, to say no. I am stepping down the contest of the presidency, and I want to vie for the position of the deputy president. And it was also cleared in the Congress that I can go ahead and vie for the position, and that is exactly what happened.